welcome. So I'm Angus. I have a goal for this hour, and it's to read chapter 7 from a book called the Tibetan Book of the Dead. For beginners, it's a guide to living and dying, written by Lama Lhanang Rinpoche and Mordy Levine. And so what the practice is that I read a chapter and then I pull an animal oracle card from the book, from the card deck of Collette Baron-Reid, and it's called the Spirit Animal Oracle. I like to see how it ties in, or if it ties in, and and so this is a practice as well. No expectations. How I use my platform, it's not, from what I can see, it's not in the way that I see it being used, I guess. It's not meant to, I just like an organic following, and it's really just an open space. So the other chapters are available. My goal is to get it in under an hour so that I can repost it. And yeah, the rest is reflection. So welcome. So this is a book that I got from the public library. And at the time I wasn't in my wellness, and so I ended up owning it by paying the fines. So I'm always pursuing to do better, to be better, but personal goals, right? Like, and it's not to overthink it or overdo it. It's more or less to just cultivate a practice. So the past is history. The future is mystery, and the present moment is a gift. And that's Lama Lhanang Rinpoche. And the dedication from the book is, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness, and may all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings rejoice in the well-being of others. May all beings live in peace, free from the greed and hatred. And that's known as the four measurables. And hey Brad, good to see you. So the practice, I'm going to be reading from chapter 7. Chapter 7 is practices as death approaches. There's something called an abbreviated FOA visualization. Encouragement. And depending on time, I might try to get chapter 8 in, which is supporting dying loved ones from a distance. And it's again the Tibetan Book of the Dead, a guide for living and dying. And these are practitioners of these things. All right, so chapter 7, practices as death approaches. Buddhists from Tibetan lineages practice FOA, a combination of visualization and mantra that merges their consciousness with a higher being in the end of life. So FOA can be traced back to the great Buddhist master Tilopa from the 11th century and his teacher Shuka Siddhi. I'm gonna butcher words, forgive me. This is my first time reading this book. A female Indian teacher from Vaharan, Vajrayana Buddhism, a yogini and a master of meditation. It is likely that she learned Phowa from teachers or primordial Buddhas who preceded her. Since that time, many Tibetan Buddhist lineages have developed their own flavor of Phowa practice. So performing Phowa while dying reduces the burden of negative karma that the practitioner has accumulated through their lifetime or lifetimes. The abbreviated Phowa practice in this chapter, along with the practices provided in Appendix A, can be tremendous benefit for anyone of any religion. And when Phowa is performed with sincerity and surrender, the dying practitioner will have an auspicious rebirth in their next lifetime on earth. So the dying practitioner who practices Phowa may have the option of attaining rebirth in a pure land. Pure land is a land of beauty that exceeds all other worlds or realms that one can be reborn into. Being reborn into a pure land is equivalent to becoming enlightened. In that case, their consciousness would not be reborn in the world we currently live in. So lamas from Tibetan Buddhist lineages may lead their dying students through the Phowa practice to help them attain an auspicious rebirth in the human realm, to reach the Pure Land, or to achieve enlightenment. Dying Buddhist practitioners, as well as non-Buddhists, can practice a simplified but effective version of Phowa for themselves. We don't have to wait until death to connect our mind with a higher being. And you can lead your loved one through a version of Phowa practice as well. So the practice helps them to release grasping or negative karma and unite their consciousness with a higher being. If our loved ones are open to it, let them know you will lead them through a transformative, peaceful, and loving practice that may ease their suffering and help them pass peacefully. It can be practiced by anyone from any religious faith or background. It will help them connect with their higher being, their God or higher power. And Phowa may be practiced during the last living hours. So we can guide them by reciting a short version of Phowa, provided below with a soft, loving, and calm voice. Traditionally, it's recited with the guide sitting next to the loved one's head and not near their feet. So after we guide them several times, our loved one can practice this on their own. Many people practice Phowa themselves, even if death is not approaching. It is a wonderful way to connect with a higher being. So in addition to Phowa, at the moment of death, we can also provide gentle encouragement to guide them on to the bardo, or the world beyond. The encouragement will help them move forward instead of clinging to their body or their old life. Here are examples of the abbreviated Phowa visualization and encouragement that we can recite to the dying person softly and slowly. If possible, sit physically close to them and speak slowly and quietly into their ear. Read the next section, filling in the higher presence or supreme being, that they most relate to. And if you don't know, it's okay to ask them who that higher being might be. So thinking of like Jesus, Moses, Buddha, Mary, Muhammad, and so on. So before I do that, I'll just say, oh hey, I see Gothic Brain came through. So far we've had like 34 folks sort of pass through. I'm just reading chapter 7 of this book, and I'll post it, so if you want to check in later, that's really cool. But I like just opening up. It's a great practice for me. I'm going to read the chapter and then pull a card, see how it ties in. And so this is just an invitation to be here and to listen in. I always invite people to kind of get 1% more comfortable. Hydrate, all of the things. If you take a look at my microphone, if I push it this way a little bit and not burp, this book here is called Family Wrap. Since I discovered wellness recovery action planning back, oh my gosh, it would have been like technically it would have been 2019. And then I discovered an organization where I could take a seminar 1, and I went and got access, and then I got invited back to do a seminar 2, which is to become a co-facilitator. And oh my gosh, that just opened up doors, so to speak, but like doors within my own inner world. These were tools that I had. It's interesting because I had been providing support as a personal support worker for like a client who was like nonverbal or whatever. But he taught me so much, because all of the things that we kept track of for him are things that I need to track for myself. And so WRAP and Family Wrap, these are just tools that were developed by people who have lived experience with substance use, mental health, all sorts of things, but like from a peer perspective. And they were people who were institutionalized. They were folks who were medicated and on medications that they necessarily didn't want to be. They were folks from, where essentially where the tools and the access are even further away, so they actually just need additional support. And they developed this program. So, I'm so into it because it's a way of being for me now, but because there's so many new things happening, like it literally this year it just changed, and now Wrap Inc. is a non-profit organization that's like training and doing all the latest. And so like the future of Wrap is just like so exciting. And yet I've been using it personally and using it within my life like consistently every day since like 2019. And then also being part of and being deep and really in love with a lot of the community from the Copeland Center, because the abundance of just resources that are available there is incredible. So anyway, I wanted to just share that because those are both two incredible resources that are very much a part of me. And Bo, We're both RAP co-facilitators, so to speak. But let's get into this visualization. Just reading from this book. So this is the abbreviated FOA visualization. So this brief FOA practice can be very impactful. You are welcome to modify it as feels right for the dying person or for yourself. So read the following. Gently close your eyes and let's observe our breath for a few minutes. Don't worry about any distracting thoughts or sounds you may hear. When you notice you are distracted, no problem. Just go back to observing your natural and unique breathing. Observe the air coming in and out of your nostrils, or the rise and fall of your abdomen or chest. Just watch and appreciate the breathing that has been your friend all your life. And then you just give a pause to allow folks to observe their breath. And then imagine that your most precious God, your higher presence, or golden light is in the room. It could be any higher being for whom you feel love, or great respect, devotion, or connection. It doesn't matter whether or not you have had this connection during your lifetime. Now is all that matters. And then we will be able to invoke their presence now. So you would enter the name of the higher being here, and in the blanks that follow. And so in this moment, because the practice is really meant to be neutral, so, and it's the same in terms of how in Canada, US, we have a right of religion, to our belief system, and we also have the right from it, right? So this space, this time, this sort of intention isn't to say one way or another, right? We all have our own sense. So in this moment, I'm just gonna say all, or because I'm gonna say I'll use Rama. Okay, that's the I like Hanuman and the story of Hanuman and his devotion. So I'll use Rama. Please, insert what's right for you. So Rama here and in the blanks that follow. So Rama has been with you all your life, and now he is making himself known to you. Now is the time for you to imagine that Rama is connected to your heart. Rama has come to keep you company. Imagine that Rama is present in the form of a white light. That is all you need to feel now. And the warmth of the white light is around your head and flows from the heart into your heart. Rama's presence is calm and loving towards you, and you can feel him. And you can feel your sense of devotion to him coming from your heart. Rama is so happy to be with you and see you. Rama can feel your essence, and you are very beautiful to him. And Rama is smiling at you and is so happy and appreciates you so much. And take a few moments, or as long as you wish, so you can take in and feel their presence and their white light. And it doesn't need to be any specific visualization, just a warm, loving sense of light. So you can take a moment and observe that. I'm just reading from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The other chapters that I've read so far are available to folks. So this is just like a reflection practice and a practice for me to read a chapter from a book. And then I pull a card. So Rama has come to you to welcome you to your next phase. And then feel similar light present in your heart center. And you too possess the same white light inside your heart center. And just take your time to appreciate and welcome this moment and this feeling. And after you feel the same essence inside of you, feel a connection between your heart center and this beautiful higher being that is your guide, protector, and loving presence. And feel the connection. And now feel yourself and Rama merge together into one essence. You're coming home to be with them. They're so happy to be with you and to welcome you. And rest in that feeling for as long as you like. And take your time, there's no rush. And repeat this whenever you would like. And I'll just let folks know, so this is the Tibetan Book of the Dead for Beginners. It's a guide to living and dying by Lama, Lhanang Rinpoche, and Mordy Levine, or Levine. The description says, through countless editions and across centuries, the Tibetan Book of the Dead has drawn readers intrigued by the Tibetan Buddhist view of the end of life, that death is the last of a countless series of endings in this lifetime. And after each ending comes a new beginning. The Tibetan Book of the Dead for Beginners draws on this timeless wisdom to help readers today live with more joy and approach the end with more ease. Lama, Lhanang Rinpoche, and Mordy Levine explore karma, impermanence, the bardos, or those in between, and what happens next, sharing accessible practices and insights inspired by the Tibetan Book of the Dead to cultivate wisdom and compassion along the way. So with empathy and warmth, Lama, Lhanang, and Levine offer support for readers grappling with their own mortality and those caring for loved ones transitioning from this lifetime. Whoa. So it's just a practice. I'm going to pull a card after. Welcome everybody. What I do near the end, I like to do is I'll go back and I'll just sort of go up through the chat. So if there's anything that folks share in the chat box, if anybody has anything that they'd like to put out there for words of encouragement themselves or your own practice, if you're holding space for someone, if you need space held for you. That's also this. I'm a facilitator for RAP. You can see my dog Bo there. This is a practice for me. I have like PTSD and BPD and all sorts of stuff where having these tools and these practices, it helps keep me healthy, right? So, and then this is the animal spirit oracle. I love to practice this for myself and for friends, so I'll pull up a card. We'll see how it ties in. But for now, we'll go. There's like a page of encouragement, and then I think there's kind of like lots of time. The next chapter, and maybe even the next two, just because the next two are kind of short. One is supporting dying loved ones from a distance. Supporting loved ones from a distance, and then supporting ourselves at the end of life. And so, hey, maybe we'll get ahead of it. So these are words of encouragement. If any of them resonate, feel free to take them in. So the following may be recited slowly and softly during the last moments in life. It is based on the teachings of Guru Padma Sambhava, the originator of the teachings in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Please feel free to modify as you see fit. So again, this is really adjustable. So you can put your loved one's name or even yourself. Do not be afraid. You are surrounded by love. You have now arrived at the moment of death. There's no turning back. This is the natural state of the cycle of life for all living things. Go forward into the world beyond, the Bardo. Do not cling to the present life. No need to grasp or be attached to your previous life. The body has expired. It is time to move forward. Take refuge in the presence of Rama. And then repeat the above several times and repeat the last line several times. So again, this is a guideline. It's the Tibetan Book of the Dead for beginners. It's a guide to living and dying. In previous chapters, it talks about how there's different bardos, there's different ways of looking at death. It can be sort of like the huge, major, ultimate picture, or it could be like the death of an idea, or a death of a hope or a dream or whatever, but the idea that there's always a rebirth, right? So let's get into chapter 8. So chapter 8 is supporting dying loved ones from a distance, and I'm looking forward to this because since 2007 I've been a certified Reiki master practitioner, and I learned through the lineage of Dr. Mikao Usui and the Usui method. So and what that sort of means is it's so Reiki means universal life energy. So again, the same idea, this all encompassing what is life, right? in the universe sort of thing. And then the practice of learning how to apply to myself, and then how to share it with others, and then how to pass it on or to teach others. And Dr. Mikao Usui, for example, was he was a very academic man, and then he traveled and learned different cultures. So the Eastern culture, and he traveled to like India and stuff like this. So Reiki was born of his contemplation of what he'd learned and how he put it to use for himself, and then he wanted to develop it as a method to teach his students. So it was about sort of how to make the mind-body connection, how to make the connection to the body, and then how to make the connection and be sort of like a guide, or like when getting a Reiki treatment or incorporating Reiki into treatment, it's like how to be the assistance, right? So anyway, as you can see, I love this stuff. Supporting dying loved ones from a distance. Yeah, that was the original spark. So there's distance Reiki as well. So this ties into that. So we can hold a loved one in mind regardless of distance. So it matters not where our friend, our family member, or loved one is. We can feel them. In our mind, we can see them. We can participate in any of these practices, prayers, or visualizations wherever we are and wherever they are. We are all connected. We all affect one another, whether you feel it or not. When we look around, and when we all when we look around and see all the numerous causes that create numerous consequences, we can't ignore that they are all connected. So the COVID-19 pandemic illustrated that we are no longer billions of individuals doing our own thing. We never were. We are not 195 countries existing independently in this world. The pandemic went from one person to the next, infecting more than 560 million people around the world as we wrote this book. Yes, we are all connected. Suffering and love also travel the distance. We can feel pain around the world. The images of sorrow flashed around the world on TV, news, or internet make the feelings even more palpable. We can also feel love and relief for those who survive. Many of us survived. Many of us helped others. Many countries supported individuals from countries on the other side of the world. There was a realization that we are all in this together. In a pandemic or not, this interconnection and interbeing always exists. Oh, I really like that. And then supporting loved ones from a distance. So we can pray, chant, or visualize with our loved ones even if they are far away. Do so as if your loved one is right next to you. They are. If you have any doubt, try it and see what you feel. Practice the FOA and the encouragement in the previous chapter. Your loved one is close by. Prepare an environment that is conducive to the practices described in this book. A clean, sacred, thoughtful area or room can be prepared for meditation, visualization, singing, and praying. Candles, incense, and beautiful pictures can adorn the room. A picture of our loved one can be placed next to images of holy beings that inspire us. To feel closer, you can, of course, talk to them by phone or video. You, your children can create and send artwork or music. Show appreciation and love. Always be open, sensitive, and non-judgmental with a positive mentality of service and support. And finally, let's give the support and love with all that we have through our devotion and surrender to God or a higher being. God or a higher being can continue to support you and your loved one as they pass through their death. All right, so that's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This is written by Lama Lhanang Rinpoche, so he's been teaching Tibetan Buddhism. He was born in Tibet. He's currently in San Diego, and he teaches all over the world. And Mordy Levine is the president of the Yigma Lingpa Center and creator of the Meditation Pro series that has taught meditation to more than 250,000 people. So that's pretty cool. Not only, I was going to read chapter 7 and I did, but I also got chapter 8 in there. I'm going to pull out a animal oracle card in a moment, right, to see how it ties in. But chapter 9 is supporting ourselves at the end of life. So I thought I wanted to maybe get that in real quick. So supporting ourselves at the end of life. So what has passed in this life is ancient history. You are now at the threshold of a beautiful, wondrous, and new opportunity. Death is just as natural as birth. Death is not to be feared. It can be viewed as an opportunity to connect with God or a higher being. We need to come to a place in our mind where we can accept this. Focus on the prize, a beautiful transition to the next phase in the cycle of birth, life, death, and do not be distracted by doubts or fears. Through meditation, we can learn to stay focused on what is happening now. It's as simple as observing your breath for a few minutes at a time, and no fancy instruction is needed. This retrains our mind to stay in the present moment. No need to review the past or worry about the future. Let's not create illusions in our mind. Reality is that our sense of self is an illusion, and reality is everything and is always changing. And reality is we die and we go into an afterlife of one kind or another. Whether you believe in the afterlife or not, why not make your death a celebration? Why not love yourself like you never have? Why not encourage your loved ones to support you in the most positive, joyful way they know how? If you believe that your death is weeks or months away, please practice the prayers and chants on compassion and wisdom shared in chapter 5. Reciting the 4 measurables and meditating on your breath. Please establish a consistent meditation practice for yourself. If you can't do it on your own, Find a teacher who is supportive. And feeling stressed, observe your breath. It will keep you in the present moment. And the past is history, the future's mystery, and the present moment is a gift. Oh my gosh, I love it. So far the chapters in the book, and these are shared if you look up my username on the YouTubes or everywhere else. Basically, I've shared the sort of previous recordings of this because I'll use it as a tool to listen to myself. I love the sound of my own voice. I will not lie. But the reason why I like it is because I trust me, right? So I want you to trust you. So if this resonates with you, just like even consider what you would tell yourself, right? To soothe yourself, or what you'd like to tell a loved one. And even just reflecting on how really we're all connected, like in a brand new way. We're all learning a whole new way of being together. So far we went over karma and how we live is how we die. Chapter 2 is what dies and what gets reborn. Chapter 3 are consciousness after death. 4 is influencing our next rebirth. 5 is start where we are now. 6 was supporting a loved one as they approach death. We did 7, which is practices as death approaches. 8, supporting dying loved ones from a distance. And then we did 9, supporting ourselves at the end of life. So next time will be the time immediately after death. After that's essential advice for joyful living and peaceful dying. And then there's the appendixes, and then, etc., etc. This is the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I got it at the library at a time when I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Sometimes I couldn't even put 1 and 1 together. And hey there, Canada. And so I had borrowed it from the public library, and then I didn't return it, so I had to pay the fine. So now I own it. So I'm loving that I've been able to read it. It's a practice of mine. I'm on a journey of recovery and discovery myself. I can definitely be a lot. 1 minute I can come off as, loving, and kind, and sweet. And then depending on my sense of safety or what I'm observing, I can go off like, my gosh, I've been through some stuff. I'm not here to F around and find out, right? But this is just actually part of the practice that helped me get well and stay well. And so I am an advanced level facilitator for Wellness Recovery Action Plan. I do comedy and storytelling. This is somebody that I really admire and respect. He's an artist named Nelson Sullivan. And I really actually think about and sort of follow and learn from and practice from all sorts of teachers and gurus and inspirations. And so these are cards that I have for my wellness. I recently actually just listened to Collette Baron-Reid talk. If you check out her stuff, she literally has released like journaling practice programming and all this stuff. But I was part of like a boot camp, writing a book and all this. And she was one of the presenters. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because this as a tool for me, I love just animal oracle readings. I do tarot. I have a whole bunch of books, but so this card is literally for us. It's for everybody. I want to go through and review my chat box. Awesome. So, and my thingies up here says that there's been like 442 hearts, which I love. This is the month of February, so I've been thinking about collecting love notes and giving love notes. So all those hearts are amazing. And then there's been 134 folks. I have family who are in the process of passing now. I have family that recently passed, and I have people who are afraid of passing. So let's just put it out for everyone that we can be kind, we can be loving, we can practice metta, loving kindness meditation, or karmic yoga. We can practice Reiki, we can support people from a distance. And this card's for that, and this card is for what we covered, okay? And it's this one. Bear. What's this? Fox spirit. So think on your feet. Boing, 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 boing. So that's the fox. Yo, what's up? Bear. Think on your feet. So that could be like a little mantra. But let's look. So, and I got less than 15 minutes. So let's see what we got. 27. So, again, this isn't me, being like Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca Heini Ho, telling you what to think or giving you some sense that I am some sort of like entity or being outside of being Angus. The idea behind this as a guide is that there's like an oracle message, so it's something to reflect on. It reflects about animal spirit sort of thing. And then there's a protection message, so it's kind of like something that we just sort of look at in self-reflection, and then potential ways that we can look at, channeling fox energy, right? So so it's really like, for you to reflect and go, okay, well, yeah, I can see how this is whatever, or hey, that's total bullshit, but hey, it's nice to sit here and listen to this weirdo talk, right? Whatever you want to fill your boots. So Fox Spirit says, think on your feet. The oracle message, be alert now, for Fox Spirit has appeared, and you were meant to move swiftly. Let this clever spirit draw out your creativity as you adjust to rapidly changing circumstances with resilience, grace, and astuteness. Fox Spirit helps you to think on your feet, using your best judgment and wits to help you slip into a more advantageous situation. Now is not the time to hesitate, but a time for swift action of the mind, a time to think outside the box and notice the many ways in which you might make a move. Aware of your surroundings and always clear on what you deserve and wish to co-create. Trust that your cleverness, guided by Fox Spirit, will serve you well. All right. And okay, I got 10 minutes. Protection message. Are you camouflaging yourself to avoid intimacy? Perhaps you are being too clever for your own good and playing games to protect yourself. Being dishonest with yourself or others can become isolating and create obstacles to true connection. Fox Spirit calls you to be attuned to what is happening within you and around you so that your quick thinking and creativity can lead you to better relationships and situations. You are called to use your Fox Spirit beneficially rather than in ways that keep you from experiencing what you want. Or perhaps right now you are realizing that a situation is trickier than it appears on the surface, and you are afraid to make a move in case it turns out to be a mistake. Fox Spirit is here to remind you that when you are in alignment with the Great Spirit, the answers and solutions can come quickly and you can trust them. Don't overthink a situation in order to avoid the challenge of facing a difficult truth. Fox Spirit's creative nature will always be there to guide you and help you move quickly into better circumstances. All right. My gosh, I got 9 minutes to go even. We read from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is a guide to living and dying. This is a guide to a book that I had picked up. That's cool. It says Sounds True, Boulder, Colorado. So I gotta visit Colorado. Like, it just sounds energetically so cool. This book was written in 2023. Okay, so it's fairly recent. You'll see this little sticker on it. It's like, I call this my Angus tax. This used to belong to the Ottawa Public Library. I was excited to be a member, and like, I was borrowing books and doing all sorts of stuff, but I can't always keep my everything all together. I live with some stuff that makes me challenged sometimes. I sometimes need a little bit of extra help and support, but I'm surrounded by an abundance of it. But that's just to say, I paid my fines, I did my time, so to speak, and now I own the book. And this is just a practice that I have for my own wellness and my own recovery. So I am turning 50 next month. But as I was turning 40, I went through what am I doing with my life? And got into comedy and improv. Did a bunch of stuff with that. When I turned 30, I was like, what am I doing with my life? But I was also being told that I didn't really have much longer to live. I was well over 500 pounds, and I had no skill. I had no mindfulness skill. I just had my trauma story. But I had a whole decade of kicking ass. So between my 20s and my 30s, I really did have a lot of experiences that put me in the path to learn to be a Reiki master, and then also pursue my goal to lose the weight and to extend my life. And so, at the time I was told I wouldn't live past 35, and while nobody can predict these things, I didn't doubt it. I had seen people pass. It's complex, right? I definitely didn't have a very good impression of myself. But I've cultivated one, and then cultivate a practice of getting connected and staying connected. And ultimately, the whole goal is that we can do all of the things. I can connect to myself. I can connect to you. You can connect to yourself. You can connect to what I'm sharing in some way. We make the connection of we, and then we explore what does it mean to be in this community. And so far there's 170 people that have peeped on this live, and then how do we kind of try to lift everybody up, right? So that's what the practice is. I love doing it in reflection of things, and I love just like literally also just representing on TikTok, like how I need it and what I would use it for, and just radically being a person attached to a name, attached to an address, attached to a place on this planet at this time, who's just really willing to just be a person, right? It doesn't have to cost a thing. It doesn't have to be about buzzes and clicks or bells or whistles or really any of the other messages that you may observe or see or hear or feel. And what we just kind of went over in this chapter was how really, like, in the last few years, we've learned that we are truly not isolated. We are connected to everyone all around the world. And then even the idea that, during that shared time together, we did see people get sick and pass. I did. My gosh, it was like opening a portal in my community. I have over 30 years supporting people. I originally started showing up in my small town in Owen Sound, where I'm from. I was part of an organization called the AIDS Committee of Grey and Bruce and the People of Alternative Lifestyles. But I was one of the kids, and I was a kid at the time, basically, but I was answering the phones. The people who were scared, who had just been diagnosed or who were living with HIV and AIDS, and this was pre all of the treatment options we have now. So when this latest thing happened in the 2020, for a lot of people and for generations of people, it was a stark reminder of what we went through not that long ago. And so this practice of kindness and family wellness recovery action planning and artistry and speaking up and speaking out and learning and sharing, it is a healing practice. And I come out here as an advocate and an activist and a big mouthy guy and somebody who's an advocate for mental health and the whole bit. But it doesn't make me like the poster child. It doesn't make me, everybody's textbook comparison. It just makes me very thankful that I could be here and that I continue to show up because, again, I'm turning 50 soon. I wasn't told that I'd live past 35, and at 30, I honestly, when I was going into surgery, and I'll always love the USA because I had my bariatric surgery in the USA back then. And I'll always love Canada, and I'll always love Ontario and OHIP because they saw the need and they supported me and they sent me there to have the best surgery that I could for my situation. But my gosh, the experience of it, I didn't see myself surviving. I had never seen myself as anything other than what I was. And it took a really long time. And it still does. But we can recover from everything. And I had to die 1,000 deaths and be reborn 1,001 times. Because that's how we get through and that's how we change. So I'm going to wrap it up. I will see you soon. Stay in tune and stay in touch. Thank you so much to the 191 people.